Okay, so first of all, for corporate structure. Now, does this structure actually looks familiar to us? Okay, when we form up a company and there are two partners. So usually, by default, the shareholders will agree that since we are friends, a lot of partnership actually starts off with friendship or relatives or relationship. So since we are friends before we are business partners, so I don't want to take advantage of you, you also don't want to take advantage of me. So we thought that a 50-50 split is the most fair kind of arrangement. Now, will this structure actually work out?
No.
You wouldn't? Okay, let me share with you a story. Okay, well, actually, I came from a family of entrepreneurs. I'm actually a third generation. So for my grandfather, he was actually a landowner. So he used to own the kampong land. Then after that, he sublet the smaller plots into subtenants, and then he made money from it. Then came to my father's generation. He actually started out an F&B business. And this F&B business is actually, they deal with distribution and manufacturing of bread. In fact, the whole of North and the western side of Singapore, the whole market is ours at that time. So when my father started up this bread manufacturing business, he started this business together with his brother. And this was exactly the kind of shareholding split that they arranged. Okay. In fact, at the time they didn't even incorporate a company. It was under a partnership. So by default, the expectation was that both brothers will hold 50% of the companies in terms of shareholding. Okay. That business actually persisted for 30 over years until the day that the partners decided to retire from it. For that, it worked perfectly. But I think there is one key element for this kind of relationship to work. That is, okay, how did it work in the first place? Okay, because those two guys, they are siblings. So by virtue of the fact that those two guys were siblings, okay, the trust is already embedded in the relationship already. Okay, so, but we ask ourselves, when we go into a certain project together with another party, do we have this kind of trust deeply rooted in our relationship? There may not be. So in that situation, alright, this kind of structure may not be the best suited structure for you to consider. Okay? So, how to actually overcome this? We are proposing a joint venture structure. Okay, of course, this is a simplified corporate structure for joint venture. Okay, depending on different individual needs and different expectations, as well as different kind of contributions. Okay, the percentages may differ. Structurally, the companies may differ. But the principle is the same. So what we propose is, instead of having individuals holding the shareholding of the company that is of joint interest, we use two corporate entities, all right, to hold the shares of a company of a joint interest. Okay, how does this model actually differ from this model? Okay, if we look closely, these two are natural persons. They are individuals. Okay, so who is supposed to be the Indian chief of this company? Who is going to give and who is going to take? Okay, the giver might not feel comfortable, along the way, that how come I have been all along with the giver. But of course the taker will always feel that, he's entitled lah. At the end of the day, he might feel even more entitled. But if we look at this structure, it is different. Because now the owner of this, okay, in practice we call this kind of company an SPV, or special purpose vehicle, because it's being formed for a particular purpose. That is probably, it could be a joint project together. Okay, it's very clear that this SPV, all right, is held by two companies. And it's also very clear that the shareholder A will always act on the best interest first of company A, because it is the owner of company A first. And it's also understood that shareholder B will definitely act on the best interest of company B. So just now, Peter's definition of partnership, that two entities coming together for a common objective of profit, becomes very clearly stated in this model. Okay, so this actually resolves, first of all, clarity and understanding issue. Okay, because it is very clear and it is understood that beneficiary shareholders will always take care of his own company interest. Secondly, it also gives sovereignty to company A and company B. Company A has its freedom to engage in other projects out of this JV company. All right, it is not binded that it has to be, strictly committed to this JV business alone. So it can diversify and go into other areas of business, as long as it doesn't breach this partnership agreement, of course. Okay, and secondly, it will be on the trust factor. Okay, it also mitigates to a certain extent on the trust issue, because corporate governance, now we are dealing B2B, company to company. So corporate governance and procedures now becomes a requirement. Okay, when we deal with individual business partners, sometimes we don't care so much about all these things, because friends, so we trust each other. We don't need to have any formal agreement. Sometimes it's also difficult for us to open our mouth to say that we want to form up a partnership agreement. We don't know how to actually, put it out to the other parties. We are afraid that once we propose, the other party might think that we don't trust them. Okay, so we have this worry, but in this kind of companies, kind of arrangement, the shareholder A is answerable to company A. Okay, you might say that company is 100% owned by shareholder A. So ultimately, it's still common interest, But as far as a corporate entity is concerned, it is a separate entity from the individual. Why? Because today, this company is 100% owned by shareholder A, but nothing is preventing company A from admitting new investors in the future. So that's why the interest of the company needs to be separate from the owner. Okay, and it's not just by provision of the Companies Act. Okay, actually there is a rationale behind it. Okay, then last of all is expectation. Okay, because by going through a corporate structure like this, it narrows down the differences in expectations between parties, and also parties are expected, like I say, to act on the best interests of their own company.